What's going on, knuckleheads? Welcome to Get It Right Saturday nights. Pretty much the first episode of this. I don't know what you guys think of the name. Get It Right Saturday nights. This is the post-fight show. I told you guys I go live pretty much every Saturday after the fights. We had the UFC go down today. It was a lot of fun. That Michelle Watterson, Angela Overkill Hill main event, man, those ladies went at it for 5 rounds. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Get It Right Saturday nights with the FightersRep. I forgot the name of the guy in the comments who came up with this name, but full credit to him. If he's in here, I hope he shouts himself out. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the fights. We're going to talk about the fight game. We're going to talk about whatever you guys want at this time. And like Fight Life Nation is saying in the chat, he said, George, nice. These little cards without the big names are coming through. That's our brother, Marco Martinez. Jump Tube is the guy who came up with Get It Right Saturday nights. Jump Tube, I like it, man. But you get full credit, my man. You get full credit. And I appreciate you coming up with the name, man. You also asked some really fantastic questions about the whole Canelo situation I've been talking about lately. I promise not to just stick to the Canelo situation because obviously, as you can tell, I kind of know what I'm talking about in the fight game. At least I like to think so. And we will be talking about other stuff as well. Not just Canelo Alvarez. But, I figured as an attorney and as a promoter, it was a good thing for me to talk about. And it looks like, I put out some videos. People seem to like them. I put out basically a question in the last video seeing if people wanted me to kind of give a prediction as to what's going to happen with Canelo's whole situation. There are like 10 million things that can happen with that situation, but I do think, I pretty much know what I'm talking about in that situation. Or I've given you guys the viable options of the myriad things that could happen in that situation. So let's see here. So Fight Life Nation says Jalen Turner looked great tonight. I love seeing young SoCal fighters coming up big. The crazy part is, Jalen Turner's a beast. I used to see him over at Adrenaline here and there when I was promoting MMA fights out there. Jalen Turner was a guy who went to war with Richard Leroy. And Richard Leroy is a kid we've interviewed on this channel. They went to war in an MMA fight before Jalen made it to the UFC. Richard Leroy ended up winning that fight, but it was, apparently it's like a classic fight, one of the best fights that's happened on the regional scene here in Southern California. It was at CXF, which is now LXF. And it's awesome to see him, a guy who actually lost that fight, but, he put in such good work, got the recognition, continued, grinding, won, and now he's made it to the UFC, and, it's looking to me like he won his fight tonight. Marco, if you could kind of update me, I'll pull it up as well, because I didn't get to catch all the fights tonight. So I don't know 100% what went down. I definitely saw some of the fights. I think it was around Bobby Green's fight when I started watching. You guys will have to fill me in on the rest. I will say that the karate hottie, Michelle Watterson and Angela Hill, man, they put on for the ladies in the strawweight division this evening. These two ladies, just for lack of a better terminology, I guess you could say, or phraseology, beat the dog shit out of each other. They were just going at it. They were just going at it for 5 rounds, and I was like, man, I don't mind watching this at all. By the way, I got my whiskey. I roll with the gold label, mixed in a little bit of Coke. You know, keep me up late. A little bit of caffeine. Cheers to you guys, man. A big cheers again to Jump Tube for coming up with the name, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Karate Hottie, that's a good one. That's actually her nickname. That's her nickname. Also, there was some boxing tonight, man. Anthony Yard fought. I like watching Yard fight. Anthony Yard beat a guy. I didn't get to watch it, but I love watching Anthony Yard fight. I thought he fought a really solid Sergey Kovalev when he fought Kovalev. And, of course, after that fight, I felt like it drained Kovalev. The guy's name he stopped was Dex Spellman. He stopped him in the 6th round. Apparently, Anthony Yard looked really good. I wanted to say that I felt like Anthony Yard... I felt like Anthony Yard did a great job in that Kovalev fight. You know, it was a huge step up for him. A lot of people, you know, you're only as good as your last fight, they say, and that's true. But I think, you know, as a fight fan, as a promoter, I think that's a bit unfair, man. You got to look at the circumstances. You know, you got to look beneath the surface. A lot of these guys take these fights late notice. Maybe they take a huge step up in competition and come up just short. You know, it doesn't mean you got to write these guys off. I mean, I think a guy like Anthony Yard, still young, still learning. He fought Kovalev. It was life and death, that fight. And I think that's part of the reason Canelo was able to run through Kovalev, was because that fight with Anthony Yard, man, that was a grueling fight. Even after the Canelo fight, Sergey Kovalev was saying, like, I didn't have a chance to beat Canelo, man. He was basically still wasted from the Anthony Yard fight. And, you know, Anthony Yard, young, flashy, but not obnoxious flashy, right? I'm going to have to say he's UK flashy. He's not, you know, USA flashy. I feel like the UK guys, you know, they still keep it more classy for the most part. They're not obnoxious with their flashiness. He's UK flashy. He's fun to watch. I think he's of Jamaican descent. A lot of Jamaican fighters coming out the UK. Dillian White comes to mind too. I think Leon Edwards in the UFC, also a Jamaican fighter. Big shout out to Jamaica. Big shout out Jason Jackson also. He's a guy in South Florida that I knew that he's fighting for Bellator now. I think he's doing a good job. But flashy guy, man. Flashy guy. Came up just short against Kovalev. I think a lot of people wrote him off. I think that was a mistake. I think this guy could still make some noise in his division. I believe this fight was at light heavyweight. I want to say it was at light heavyweight. Yes, it was at light heavyweight, I think. The only problem with being a fighter in this day and age in the light heavyweight division is that, you know, if you want to win a title, you're going to either beat, well, I guess you're going to fight, you know, whoever is going to fight for the title now that Canelo vacated it. But if you really want to be the man at that division, you got to see not only Dimitri Bivol, but you also got to see the scariest guy, I think he's the scariest guy in boxing, is Artur Beterbiev. You got to see that guy. You got to see that guy. That guy's an animal. That guy is an animal. The Anthony Yard fight, I didn't catch it. I don't know if it's on DAZN. Let me check. I'll try to check for you. Anthony Yard. So I guess ESPN Plus decided not to stream the fight. The show was airing on BT Sport in the UK. So there you go. Look at me. I'm doing research for you now. Boxing Now. Appreciate the question, brother. Hey, there's 7 of you in here so far. Hopefully more people come in. Hit that like button, the bell notification icon. Join Knucklehead Nation. Hit the subscribe button, man. The channel's been popping lately. I think this is the best fight channel on YouTube. I not only give you our free fights, I give you fight commentary from the mind of a promoter slash lawyer. I also give you guys interviews in the fight game, especially with, local guys. But we've had stars on here, Regis Prograis, Manny Robles, Andy Ruiz's coach, and the like. So I hope you guys continue to support the channel. But yeah, we're popping. The channel seems to be taking off. I've got 5 dates. I got 5 dates next year. That's important. Because, if you guys don't know, I don't just, sit here and talk about the fights. I'm an actual promoter. This is the company, FightersRep Promotions. We're the only kickboxing promotion that matters, for sure. I think the only active pro kickboxing promotion or pro-am kickboxing promotion in the state of California. There may be another company with a license, but I don't think anyone's active. I was the only one, as far as I know, that did a show this year. Of course, the pandemic had something to do with that. But the only kickboxing promotion, as far as I know, in California, this is the mecca of combat sport here. So, if you guys join the channel, support the channel, buy shirts below, donate, whatever you do, it goes towards me building some of the youngest studs, best fighters you've ever seen in your life. An example is Anderson Silva's son, Gabe Silva. He fights for us. He's just one notable person, but we've got so much talent. Chad George sends us his kids. Josh Barnett has sent us his kids. We work with Systems Training Center, Saxon, Muay Thai, a bunch of teams with bukus of guys, in the UFC and in Bellator. I really think I'm working with the most talent-rich population in the world out here. And Fight Life Nation, the guy in the chat right now, that's Marco Martinez. He actually helps us out, works with us. He'll tell you. We got incredible talent on these cards. And you get to watch these fights for free. Even if we do decide to go the pay-per-view route for the upcoming events, charge a little something. Eventually, we upload the fights to YouTube so everybody can watch it free. And to build this young talent, the sport of kickboxing was neglected and left to die, especially in the United States. And I feel like we've done a tremendous job bringing it back. We sold out our last show. We did it by the book. We weren't taking any shortcuts. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, licensed. It was a fantastic show. You could catch it again on the channel. Click the free fights tab and enjoy. And I think we have the most action-packed rule set on the planet. It's all stand and bang. There's no kind of grappling or holding. You do a one-handed clinch, but if you do two-handed clinch, it's like boxing. The referee's going to break you up, and then you just got to go in there and bang it out. By the way, you guys are in here. Appreciate you guys being in here. If you got any questions, if you want to talk about anything, I'm open. If you guys got any questions, you want to talk about anything, if you guys ever, if you're on Instagram, you want to hit me up, I'm, right here below, FightersRep on all social media. The Instagram messages will get to me the soonest because you can't really DM on YouTube, but definitely leave your comments if you ever have any questions on YouTube. And if you want to talk to me face to face, hey man, consider me, like one of the boys, man. You can hit me up on Instagram if I'm free. I'll chat with you, man. Life's about relationships, man, and I'm a promoter. I'm trying to get my young fighters out there. I'm trying to get the brand out there. So you guys can hit me up, man. I'm a friendly dude for the most part. Just like anyone else, You treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect. Let's see here what we got in here. Jump Tube asked me, you got some Proper 12? 13. I was gifted a bottle of Proper 12. It wasn't bad. It kind of tasted a little bit strong, like little rubbing alcoholish, but it was all right. Jump Tube says lots of fights in light heavyweight. Man, you're not lying. I would love to see Beterbiev and Bivol if that fight can be made. I do think that's a fantastic fight. I think Bivol is hyper technical. and doesn't have the physical gifts that Beterbiev has. I think Beterbiev is hyper physical and has some good technique. Not sure if he's as polished as Bivol, but maybe just as polished. Who knows? Maybe even more. The thing is, it's just his style, man. He's such a come forward destroyer, that. And of course, there's technique involved. But I mean, it would be an interesting chess match, right? Because we saw how Bivol was able to handle Joe Smith Jr. seemingly with ease. And I would love to see Artur Beterbiev. I would love to see Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. I think that would be a fascinating fight. I would love to see that happen. I've said it before. Those are the two best guys at light heavyweight. When Kovalev had the strap at light heavyweight, even a Kovalev that wasn't, beaten up by Anthony Yarde, I still think Canelo would beat a Kovalev that was not coming off the Anthony Yarde fight, because I do think Kovalev is aged at this point. I got all the respect in the world for Kovalev. I thought he beat Andre Ward the first fight, I thought he beat Andre Ward that first fight, or I mean, if I had to, gun to my head, I would have picked Kovalev in that one. I just felt like maybe during that fight, in the latter half of it, or maybe after it, Kovalev, it just started to decline. I mean, he's an older guy at this point. There's only so much, boxing you can do. It is a young man's sport. And so my point is, even though Kovalev is a fantastic talent, had a fantastic career, I still think Beterbiev and Bivol are the best in the division. And I actually think Beterbiev is the man at light heavyweight. I mean, you're talking about a guy who destroyed, Gvozdyk. Destroyed Gvozdyk, the nail. And, Gvozdyk was solid, man. Teddy Atlas's guy. Destroyed him, just broke him down. And I remember Max Kellerman saying Gvozdyk quit. To be honest with you, in that situation, I thought Max Kellerman needed to shut his fucking mouth, because Gvozdyk went out on his shield in that fight. Man, his body gave out. I think what happened is that Ukrainian style, man, they move around so much. Beterbiev kind of figured it out, and he's fought these guys before. I mean, he fought Usyk in the amateurs, right? Who's a fucking heavyweight now. So imagine the power, the technique, the experience that Beterbiev has. I think all that moving around didn't help Gvozdyk, man. It burned his energy. Beterbiev played it smart, instead of having to move his feet and shift, Beterbiev was able to stay in place and shift and counter and kind of start predicting where Gvozdyk was going and finish that fight, man. And I'm hella impressed by Beterbiev, man. Not just that, he's probably the most physically gifted. I mean, he's one of the most physically gifted people in all of boxing. Power, technique. He's not super fast, but he's got enough speed. He's not like slow. He can hit with both hands. He knows what he's doing in there, man. He's a dangerous guy, and he's relentless, and he doesn't seem to get tired. I've never seen him get tired. He also seems to have a really good chin. I mean, he got dropped one time, but I think he's got a fantastic chin, man. I think the guy's a beast. Cheers, by the way, brothers. Salud. Cheers. Gascon. Whatever you say. Cheers, brothers. Appreciate you guys being in here. Claudio Monreal says, just found your channel. Good stuff. Appreciate you, Claudio. You're the man, brother. Appreciate you. I think I did see you ask a question or something in one of the comment sections. I think it was a good one. That's why I remember you in a good light. So I appreciate you being in here, man. Much appreciated. JumpTube says, Prograis, what made him go to PBC? To be honest, I didn't even know Prograis was with PBC, but why not? Al Heyman, one of the better, if not the best, American promoter at this point. I mean, who else is there? Top Rank? If you asked me, and you guys might disagree, but if you ask me who I'm going to roll with as a fighter, Al Heyman or what's his name, the old geezer, Bob Arum from Top Rank. I'm going with Al Heyman, man. I'm going with Al Heyman. I like Al Heyman. I feel like if you look at Top Rank's history, there's been some shady stuff happening there. Even though they do their thing, they're doing a great job. But I don't know. I just feel like Heyman, there's more of a future there. I feel like Top Rank, Bob Arum's already 90 years old, almost. I would go with Heyman. Not too many choices, not too many choices really. I mean, there's Top Rank, there's Al Heyman in the United States, and there's a couple smaller promoters. I mean, that's pretty much all I can think of. I think another good choice would be Eddie Hearn, man. I like Eddie Hearn. I think Eddie Hearn has done wonders for the sport of boxing. And I don't see why not pick Eddie Hearn, especially considering, I would imagine Prograis had the most successful, maybe the most lucrative fight of his life out in the UK. So, Eddie Hearn would have been a real option for me if I'm Prograis, but I don't know. Do you have kick minimums? Jump to we don't. We don't have kick minimums. I think that would be super corny. No offense, and that is a thing that they used to do back in the day in kickboxing, where you had to throw a certain amount of kicks. We don't do that. We're just. I've actually, to be honest with you, I actually influenced the creation of this rule set, and now it's the IKF's unified rule set. It's almost like they made it. They made it with my input, and obviously, it was mostly them. But they did consider my input, which I appreciate. And there's no minimums. What it is, our rule set, which is why I think you guys will love our fight so much if you check them out, is you can punch, you can kick, you can knee. There's no clinching. There's only one hand clinching, but you got to be working. If not, the referee's going to break you up. So you got to stand and bang it out, man. There's no break. It's 3-3-minute rounds. You just got to stand and bang it out. And it is the most exciting rule set ever. You can't stall, really. The only way you can stall is, high guard. You know what I mean? Because if you clinch, again, the referee's going to break you up. So, super exciting. Fight Life Nation says FightersRep shows, especially since they went full kickboxing, have been can't miss. Not just great fights, but high-level talent. Appreciate you, my man. It says, George, how sad is it not to have one of the greatest Mexican boxers fighting tonight on Mexican Independence Day? That does suck, man. That does suck. I think Canelo should have started his own promotional company a long time ago. I think Canelo was probably showing his loyalty, or just, signed by De La Hoya a while back and just, stuck to that contract. But I think Canelo should have started his own promotional company a long time ago, and not only started it, because he may have started, but been promoting himself. Or maybe jump on board with Eddie Hearn, because my understanding is he has signed, I think, a fighter of his to Eddie Hearn. Either a fighter that he manages or one of his stablemates. I'll look into that some more, but it looks like he has sent one of those kids over to Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn also has an obligation with DAZN. So, I would think that it would be a great idea. And I'm supposed to do a video for you guys on my prediction of what's going to be the outcome of the whole situation. But I do think that Canelo will probably maintain his relationship. This is what I'm feeling right now. I don't know, maybe it's a whiskey talking, but I think he'll maintain a relationship of some sort with DAZN. And what better way to do it than to work with a promoter like Eddie Hearn, at the very least co-promote, right? And work with DAZN and, maintain the ability to make big money, with DAZN. A lot of people are bringing up this whole premier fighter thing. I mean, I really feel like the question of what a premier fighter is another important question that I want to ask you guys. You know, I want to know, who do you think is a premier fighter? Because, you know, the entire impasse here, the entire problem is DAZN thinks they get to approve the fighters. Canelo thinks he gets to approve the fighters that he fights. I guess that's what's going on according to Canelo's complaint. And if that's the case, you know, and DAZN doesn't think Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders are premier fighters, and, you know, I'm kind of confused. I mean, if DAZN thinks that, you know, Triple G, Jorge Masvidal, and Khabib Nurmagomedov, who've never had a boxing match in their lives, are premier fighters, you know, if I'm Canelo, I take those. I mean, I take those fights. I think Canelo beats the shit out of Triple G in a third fight. Because in the first fight, I thought Triple G won. The second fight was close. I was okay with a Canelo decision. Maybe you guys disagree with me. I was okay with it. I thought he came forward. I thought he fought well. And I think the third fight is going to go really bad for Triple G, because here's the thing. Canelo's a baby still. You know, when he just turned 30, Triple G's closer to 40, man. He's aging. He did not look good at all against Derevyanchenko. And if he comes out the way he did against Derevyanchenko, against Canelo in a third fight, I'll say it right now, Triple G gets knocked out. I mean, that's my opinion. If he comes out the way he did against Derevyanchenko, Triple G gets knocked out. And that's on this gold label right here, brother. Salud. What are we talking about here? What else you guys got here for me? Yeah, it sucks that he's not fighting on Mexican Independence Day, man. He should have been promoting himself a long time ago. Or let me promote you, Canelo. Let me promote you, man. Come do a kickboxing fight. You know, just stay on the inside and bang the guys out. Fight Life Nation says, what do you think of the fighter in the co-main of the UFC tonight, the guy who stopped Worthy? Marco, shame on you. You don't know his name? That's Uthman Azaitar, my Arab brother from North Africa, from Morocco, representing. And that guy is a beast, putting down for the Arab people. And yeah, man, that guy's a beast, bro. That guy's a beast. Him and his brother can fight, you know. It's Uthman Azaitar and I think Abu Zaitar. And they both can fight. Those guys, man, they can fight. Listen, man. Morocco's got some really good athletes. You know, we don't see them. These fighters, man, over in Europe and North Africa and Africa and stuff, we don't see how talented they are on this side of the pond as much as they do over there. Because, you know, over there you have like Glory, you know, and, you know, Cage Warriors and all these other different promotions out there. And people from places like Morocco and Armenia and, you know, different parts of Africa and besides Morocco and Europe, you know, they're beasts, man, and they're killing it. I mean, if you turn on a Glory broadcast, you see multiple Moroccan kids, you know, out there killing it. So, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's cool, man, and I think he's a beast, and I think as the world becomes more internationally connected, you'll see more talent from countries that you didn't see before. And definitely, I mean, Morocco, man. Morocco's a beautiful place, man. Morocco's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful culture. You know, I grew up and had a bunch of Moroccan friends growing up as you know, as an Arab American myself. Very good people, the ones that I got to know. You know, smart, great athletes. Excited, man. I thought he beat the shit out of Worthy, man. To be honest with you, I think Worthy's a tough guy, man. And he beat him up, man. He beat him up bad. So yeah, he's a beast, man. Claudio Monreal. But yeah, it's total bullshit. I mean, I'm looking at it again. I know I already said about it, but it's total bullshit that Canelo's not fighting on Mexican Independence Day, man. I would have loved to watch Canelo fight on Mexican Independence Day. Fight Life Nation says, what do you think, or rather, Claudio Monreal says, I don't think Canelo should fight at 175. He's too small for that division. Kovalev was not the same fight. I agree 1,000%, man. Kovalev was not the same fighter at all. Canelo should not stay there. You know, if we're being honest with ourselves, Canelo, like physically, his frame, he's like a junior middleweight, man. He's not even a middleweight. He's a junior middleweight. I mean, he should be fighting like at 154. The guy has no business at 175, but he's just that good. But also, I mean, come on. I mean, he chose the weakest link. He chose the weakest link of all the champions at 175, which was Kovalev, Claudio. And, you know, at least that's the way I feel about it. So, that's what the deal is, man. I think he knew Kovalev was damaged goods. He knew he was older. He knew he could pick up a belt in another weight division. He did it for the legacy, you know. He did it for the legacy. Let's see here. Jump to Better Biev would have knocked out Usyk without the headgear in that fight. You might be right, man. Better Biev is a nasty, nasty man. But you know what? He's so polite and gentle when he speaks, but he is an absolute savage when he's in the ring. You know, it's such an interesting dichotomy when you look at Artur Beterbiev, man. What a fantastic fighter that guy is. You know, I wish we could see more of him. I want to see him fight more. You know, the cool part, you know, this just came to mind. So our referee, and he's also the vice president of the IKF, the International Kickboxing Federation, and he's also an undefeated kickboxer with like, I think it was 15 wins and 13 knockouts or something like that. Dan Bam Bam Stell, he's a referee now, and he's also vice president, or was vice president, co-founder of the IKF. You know, he referees all our fights, and he actually refereed Beterbiev's fight against, I think it's pronounced Kaladzic. Bam refereed that fight, and he told me, man, I could feel, this is Bam telling me this, right? So I know it's no bullshit, because Bam is the most straight up, authentic, dope, cool guy you ever meet in your life. Bam said to me, he's like, George, man, I could feel this guy's punches landing. I said, Bam, what? He said, George, I could feel the punches landing. I was just like, holy, he said, man, that guy hit so hard. I said, damn, for Bam, because Bam, during his kickboxing career, man, if you guys don't know, Bam's an OG, man. Bam used to go in there and just hunt people down and bang them out, man. He was undefeated. And Bam is I hear he was a heavy-handed guy too, man. So to hear that from Bam, I mean, Bam was fighting kickboxing fights when kickboxing was like savage, man, here in the United States. I mean, it's dead now. We're bringing it back to life. We're going to absolutely kill it. But back when Bam was fighting kickboxing, man, this shit was savagery, man. It was, imagine like a UFC fight, but with no takedowns. I mean, that's what it was like. And they were beating the dog shit out of each other. And, you know, I heard Bam would just go in there and just go after your liver, man. And for him, again, you got to know Bam, man. You got to know him. He's so fucking no nonsense. I love the guy. He's the best. He's one of the best guys I know. You can see it in the way he referees. I mean, if you look at the way he deals with the fighters at the FightersRep fights, if you look at some of our free fights, you'll see what I mean, man. He's like, in one fight, the kid, I think, caused the cut. I think he caused the cut on his opponent. And Bam said, go to the corner. And the kid was confused. He didn't know he was talking to him. Bam said, go to the corner. The kid was just like looking around. And he like went up in his face and he was like, get the fuck in the corner. Bro, it was hilarious. So again, for a guy like Bam, right, who's, you know, fought and trained, his entire life since he was a child, and now is a referee and eats and sleeps and breathes the fight game and was co-founder of the IKF and all this stuff. For a guy like that to tell you that guy hit so hard I could feel his punches, that's a statement, man. That's a statement. For an OG like that to say that, man, you know Beterbiev was cracking. And you see Beterbiev work out. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I know you guys have seen these goofballs on YouTube and Instagram that they do the push-up and they go like this. I fucking hate that shit, by the way. When they do the push-up and they jump like this, they look like fucking dolphins that are like, I don't know, stuck out of water or something that are beached. But so when Beterbiev does his push-ups, I don't know if you guys have seen it, he'll like push off, but instead of doing this goofy shit, he'll push off and he'll land on his knuckles, and then he'll push off and land back on his hand, and then he'll push off and land on his wrist. He like literally will go like this. I want you to try to go and do a push-up on your wrist like this and tell me how it feels. Man, but he's not doing it like slowly. This guy's like bang, bang. He's like bang, bang, bang. It's hand, knuckle, wrist, knuckle, hand, knuckle, wrist. And he's just doing it fast. And this is not a small guy. I mean, he's cutting weight. He's cutting weight to 175 pounds. I mean, this is a big, strong fucking guy. He fought Usyk in the amateurs. I mean, Beterbiev, I guarantee you, can knock out heavyweights. So he's not a little guy doing that. He's a thick, strong bulldozer of a man, and he's doing fucking push-ups, bouncing off the ground on his knuckles and wrists and hands. I mean, if you've ever exercised or lifted weights or done any sort of calisthenics in your life, you know that's outrageous what he's doing, man. By the way, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation. Anything you guys purchase in the links below or donate to the super chat, again, it's going to get reinvested right back into the promotion. The only kickboxing promotion in California. The only one that matters. And, some of the best young talent you're ever going to see in your life. I promise you that. Check out our fights. They're free on here. Let me see what else is going on here. Does Eddie Hearn have American boxers? Absolutely. Demetrius Andrade is promoted by Eddie Hearn. That's the first one that kind of comes to mind. I'm pretty sure he has others. I'm drawing a blank. But he works with American fighters all the time. I mean, even for this his last card that he did, he brought Shondell Winters out there. I'm not saying Shondell Winters is signed, but he deals with American fighters all the time. Let's not forget as well that he brought Andy Ruiz out there to fight Anthony Joshua. He brought him out to Saudi Arabia actually to fight Anthony Joshua. So Eddie Hearn, man, he's here, and he's got more than just that. He's got more than just that. And I do believe, like I said, he signed one of Canelo's kids. I believe he signed one of Canelo's kids, and that kind of, I think, gives me a clue as to what's going to happen with Canelo going forward. I feel like him having worked so much with Eddie Hearn is probably going to mean that at some point, they're going to be working together, or maybe Canelo goes around Golden Boy and works with DAZN directly or co-promotes with Eddie Hearn on DAZN. Maybe something like that. You know what I mean? Let's say here. Claudio Monreal says, PBC is a good company, but at 140 they don't have any fighters. Prograis might move to 147. That's where PBC has a lot of fighters. I don't like Prograis at 147. I don't like him because Prograis, as fantastic of a fighter as he is, he's not that big, man. He's not that big, and I feel like Prograis versus a guy like Errol Spence is just crazy, man. I feel like Errol Spence is probably way bigger than Regis. That's not to say Regis can't hurt you and knock you out. He's definitely got a lot of power, but I just don't like. I just, I feel like you have to consider the guy's frame, man. I mean, this is not a knock on anybody. You have to consider a guy's frame. I mean, again, we were just talking about it earlier. Canelo Alvarez going up to 175 is silly. I feel like Regis Prograis, even at 140, he's not that big. I mean, we saw him against Josh Taylor. Maurice Hooker was going to fight Prograis, was way taller than Prograis. Prograis is just not that big of a guy. You know what I mean? I think Prograis is good at 140. If, like you're saying, Al Haymon doesn't have anyone for him at 140, maybe it's not a good deal. I think him and Hooker were actually supposed to fight at a catch weight of 143, but I think that was more Hooker's doing than Prograis, but I could be wrong there. Maybe we need to get him on the show and talk to him. Claudio Morreal says that Eddie has Demetrius Andrade. Yeah, I said that for sure. He does have Demetrius Andrade. And, Demetrius Andrade, for me, one of the saddest stories in boxing. I felt like that guy has so much talent, but nobody's really wanting to fight him. And, you can't promote a guy if you can't get him any fights. And they're mentioning Devin Haney. Obviously, that's a fantastic fighter that, Eddie Hearn has as well, who's right now embroiled in sort of a social media / testosterone battle with Gary Russell Jr. By the way, salud, guys. Cheers. Gascon. Whatever language you say it in. Get you something in you. If you don't drink, get some tea. Appreciate you guys being in here with me. So, Eddie has Demetrius Andrade, Devin Haney. And Devin Haney right now, they're talking he may potentially fight Gary Russell Jr. And I think that's a really good fight. I think Gary Russell Jr. has a ton of heart and balls to go up and fight Devin Haney, who I believe is 2 weight classes above him and way bigger. 3.5-inch height advantage, I believe. 7-inch reach advantage. I remember this because I talked about it not too long ago. It's a great fight. And then Gary Russell Jr., I mean, even though he's at those physical height and reach disadvantages, he's got the speed on his side. He's got more experience. He's a technician. I think it'd be a great fight, man. I think it'd be a great fight. I do find it unfortunate that Gary Russell Jr. kind of has to bark up every freaking tree he could find to get a fight. I do think it's sad. We only see him fight like once a year or whatever. I mean, I think Gary Russell Jr. is another really good talent. I think it's fucked up that nobody wants to fight him. But, I've talked about this before, you guys. This is my problem with boxing, and I always keep this in mind as I continue to turn kickboxing back into the greatest combat sport in the world, which is what I plan to do. I keep it in the back of my mind that boxing is the way it is, and there's nobody to fight because nobody wants to lose. And, that's not the way the sport should be. You should not be afraid to lose. You should not worry about the repercussions of losing. People should be respected for going in there and fighting. That's the honorable thing to do. That's the fucking manly thing to do, is to respect the person just for going in there and fighting. It's there's like no honor, man, when you go in there or you set up a fight where a guy, one guy's going to win, one guy's going to lose. These A-side, B-side fights. I mean, I've been talking about this for years. It feels like years now on this channel I've been talking about this, and I try my best to make even matchups, because when you make even matchups, man, you get the best out of both guys. You get drama, you get action, you get excitement. And you build the guys. I mean, they get the experience they need to go to that next level. Whereas, if you hand the guy a million tomato cans, kind of like what they did with Deontay Wilder, and then you put him up against an elite guy, he gets beat up. You know what I mean? He gets beat up. Not to say that Deontay Wilder, is horrible. I think he's a good fighter. But, he just didn't get the experience he needed in life in his career to beat a Tyson Fury, Could he beat Fury? Could he beat Anthony Joshua even? Could he beat Dillian White even? Andy Ruiz? I mean, I don't know if he got the experience necessary. And that's the whole thing. I mean, when you set up these A-side versus B-side fights, you insult the intelligence of the fans, first and foremost. They insult your intelligence, right? Because fans know a bullshit fight, especially if they're hardcore fans. You don't help the A side because they're going to crush this tomato can. You certainly don't help the B side because you're getting them, you're sacrificing them. There's no honor in that, man. These people might have, like I said, a family. They need to put food on the table. You can't do that to people, And it's just a lose-lose all the way around, man. It's a lose-lose all the way around. People lose respect for the sport. That's why the UFC, I think, is doing so much better than boxing. You're kind of forced to fight the best people in your division. There's a ranking system. There's one league. The best people are in that league, and they are going to fight. So, hope you guys understand my point there. Hope you guys understand my point there. That's the whole fucking issue with these A-side versus B-side fights. These promoters, they don't want to risk their guy. It's not the way the combat sport, martial arts. That's why honor is so important, man. It's okay to lose. It's okay to lose, man. In life, when you lose, it's okay. You get your ass back up. You dust yourself off. You come again. You know what I mean? That's the way it should be, especially for the fight game. Claudio Monreal says, I think a premier fighter is a fighter ranked in the top 5 of their division, but to a network, popularity does matter. And that's why you don't afford one party the ability to approve fights while also affording another party the ability to approve fights if that's actually what happened. I think that's what Canelo is alleging in his complaint, and that is problematic because what you're saying here is, well, it's a network. Yeah, it's a network. It's got interests, and its interests are we want as many people as possible to watch our broadcast. Canelo's interest is, I want to win this title. Whether it's against a famous guy, whether it's against a taxi cab driver, whatever it is, I want to win the title. So it's differing interests, man. It's differing interests. Let's see here. JumpTube says, you're going to try to bring Dillian White for an exhibition in the IKF? Bro, that would be incredible, man. I would do that in a heartbeat. Or Dean White. He's actually been on the show, Dillian White's brother. He acts kind of as his agent, and he's a very friendly guy. He's a very cool guy. I just hit him up on Instagram a few days ago. I asked him when we're going to do an interview again. He says, soon, man, soon, let's do it. So we're just figuring out what time is good because he's like 10 hours different from me here in California. Let's see here. So yeah, that would be a dope idea, JumpTube. You're full of good ideas, JumpTube. Let's see here. Claudio Monreal says, does Joe Smith have any chance against Beterbiev? Everybody, listen. Claudio, you and me both know this, brother. Everybody's got a puncher's chance, right? But do you think Joe Smith has a chance against Beterbiev beyond the puncher's chance? I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I don't think he's got beyond the puncher's chance, man, because he doesn't have the amateur pedigree. Is he stronger than Beterbiev? Joe Smith's thing, his strength is his strength, right? That's his strength as a fighter, is his physicality, is his power. And I don't even think he has that over Beterbiev, man. I don't think he even has that over Beterbiev, man. He's got good volume. Beterbiev can match that. He's got power. Beterbiev can match or surpass that. He doesn't have Beterbiev's technique. Definitely not. I think he's got a reach advantage. If I'm him, I fight Beterbiev high volume like Joe Smith typically does. I try to use my jab a lot. I try to knock his ass out maybe, because we did see Beterbiev get dropped. I try to make it a physical fight. I try to fight from the outside. If I get an opportunity to go inside, I do it. But, man, I just find that to be a difficult fight for Joe Smith, man. I like Joe Smith, but that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one for Joe Smith. I don't think he's got a chance, man, to be honest with you. Not much of a chance. But all respect to him. I mean, he's a great fighter. He deserves the shot at Beterbiev or Bivol. But, I mean, we already saw Bivol kind of toyed with him, So, we'll see. Game Bread. My boy Game Bread is in here, brother. He says, what's up, bro? What's up, Game Bread? It's been a while, man. Devin Haney. That's right. Loma versus Lopez. Who takes it, says Gibson Lepole. You know what, man? I like Teofimo, man. I like Teofimo. I like that he's got the heart to take this fight. That's exactly the sort of example boxing needs. That goes exactly to what I was saying about A-side versus B-side fights. But I think Lomachenko is just a little too much. Unless Teofimo, look, the way Teofimo could win that fight is if he's very physical and lands some good shots, because we saw Lomachenko get dropped by Jorge Linares. So if Teofimo lands a shot, man, on Lomachenko, it could be night-night, right? But I just think, I always go with the skilled guy. For me, when Mayweather was fighting anybody, I always said, oh, Mayweather's going to win. Because I go with the skills, you know what I mean? And I feel like Lomachenko has the best skills in boxing right now. Since Mayweather left, I think Lomachenko's the most skilled fighter in boxing. I don't think anyone beats him, man. But Teofimo does have a shot because he's got some skills. He's got some speed. He's got a lot of pop. And it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great fight as long as Teofimo doesn't crumble under the pressure. The mental and physical pressure of fighting Lomachenko. Because Lomachenko's busy, in your face busy. And you can't, sometimes people break, I think, because they're not used to somebody being in that range and not being able to hit them. So, yeah, gun to my head, I got to go with Lomachenko, man. He's just too much skills. Maybe down the line, Teofimo ends up replacing him as the man in that division or whatever. But I think right now, Lomachenko. What do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think. John Wick in this bitch. What's up, my brother? Game Bread says, I'm rooting for Lopez, but Loma is a different level. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. John Wick in here. What's up, everyone? What's up, John? Hope you're feeling good, man. Give me an update. Let me know how you're doing, big dog. Game Bread 510 says, what's up, John Wick? No, Lomachenko schools Lopez with experience. Yep, John Wick. You're absolutely right on that one. George, what's up, cousin? Says, sup, cuz. What's up, cuz? How you doing, man? Hey, for all you that don't know, George is a cousin of mine out in Sweden, of all places, man. Shout out to Sweden. Shout out to everybody from all over the place that watches the channel. Much appreciated. Game Bread 510. Let me see here. Let me drag this over here. Let me see here. So Game Bread 510. Fighters nowadays are scared to lose that old facts, man. That's a shame. That's the biggest shame, and the most damaging thing that ever happened to combat sports. It's the most damaging thing that ever happened to combat sports is people that are afraid to lose the O, and the whole culture that made that okay, that normalized that. That's the worst thing that ever happened to combat sports. Because guys that lose, that should have continued to gain opportunities and have opportunities, in a lot of sports they won't get them. Just because they have one loss, man. It's wild to me. It's wild to me. Let's see here. Let me see here. What a war tonight, Bellator champ. Archuleta, the Spaniard, is a beast. Game Bread, you ready for TBE Costa fight? I'm stoked for that, bro. The Costa fight is going to be dope as hell. I didn't watch Archuleta tonight. I'll take your word for it. I know he's a beast. That I know. Man, Archuleta, I saw that guy fight in a regional show down here. And this is when I knew he was going to be a beast. He picked the guy up. He slammed the guy in the first round. It was the main event. Archuleta slammed the guy. The guy put his hand down to prevent a hard landing, and the guy's arm just like popped out, man. And I was like, oh my God. So Archuleta just looked so good in that fight, man. And I knew he was training at the training lab with Dillashaw and stuff. I was like, this guy has got a very bright future, man. Very bright future. Let me see here. I have money on Costa, says Game Bread. Andy Bello says, I got 10K on Loma. That's a lot of money, Andy. That's a lot of money, brother. Hey, instead of spending all that money, get you a VIP table at the next Fighters Rep event. I'll throw in a free bottle, brother. Gibson LaPaul says, Patchy Mix is going to be champ within the next 2 years once he fixes his stand-up a little. John Wick, appreciate you being in here, Gibson. John Wick says, Izzy will serious problems. He may have high-level striking, but Costa will eat his punches. But if he lands, he will kill Izzy. That's going to be a good one, man. He has no chance at beating the Spaniard. He outperformed him, outstruck his wrestling was better tonight. Archuleta also was more accurate. Mix controlled Archuleta the first 2 rounds. Look 2 years down the road, Jackson Wink will improve his stand-up in due time. Jump Tube says, straight up, I'd take Loma, but with this plus 250, plus 300 odds, Tio's getting, I'll put a smaller bet on Tio, and I have a feeling Top Rank and ESPN want Tio to win, so I could see a bad decision favoring Tio. Top Rank, I feel like, is notorious for trying to get guys that are, kind of approaching their mid-30s out of there. So I feel what you're saying on that one, Jump Tube. Gibson LaPaul, Archuleta. Shout out to Louis314, man, who just joined the Knucklehead Nation. Appreciate you doing that. Let's see here. Gibson LaPaul, Archuleta isn't going to get any better than he is now, but Mix will get a lot better. John Wick says, what's up, George? I'm doing great, brother. Feeling good. Very excited about the next 2 UFC events. Lomachenko fight. Damn, great fights coming. Hell yeah, man. I've been watching for a few years. He is hard to beat. Looked great tonight against Patricky Mix. Claudio Monreal says, is Bellator still on the zone? I don't even know, man, if Bellator is still on the zone. Gun be publishing in here, man. My brother, Sean G, bro. What are you doing? It's almost 1 in the morning, Sean. It's almost 1 in the morning out there, man. What are you doing? You got a honey just left the house, or what's going on with you, man? Sean G, man. John Wick, I agree, but so will Archuleta. Good rematch for sure, Jump Tube says. But either way, with Loma, Tio, ensure your bet with a small bet on a draw. I just want to watch that fucking Teofimo Lomachenko fight, man. I just want to watch that fight. That looks like such an exciting fight, with Lomachenko's skills and athleticism versus Teofimo's like hunger and athleticism and explosiveness. That's going to be a great fight, man. That's going to be a great fight. Gibson LaPaul says, yes, Bellator is on the zone. Watch it tonight. I wonder how Bellator is doing for the zone. I'm curious. Didn't Izzy start as a kickboxer? Absolutely, Claudio. Kickboxing is Izzy's base. He actually fought for Glory, which I learned today. Glory went into receivership, which basically kind of sort of similar to bankruptcy. Not the same thing, but similar. They went into receivership. I guess they weren't doing that well financially, and it looks like some group of investors or somebody in the UK bought them out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Glory. It looks like they are planning some cards, or at least one card for the end of the year. Maybe a couple in October, I believe it was. It's going to be nice to have them back. But yeah, Izzy fought for glory, among other leagues, I'm sure. And Izzy's a beast, man. Izzy's a beast striker, and he's shown that even guys with a striking base, if they kind of learn how to defend on the ground or can keep it standing, even in this day and age of the wrestler kind of being the dominant species in MMA, he's shown that strikers can still get it done. And yeah, John Wick says Izzy's last fight in kickboxing, he got knocked out bad. He did, but he got knocked out by I think it was Alex Pereira, the Brazilian, who is not only the middleweight champion of Glory, but also the light heavyweight champion of Glory, and just murders anybody that gets in the ring with him. So no shame in losing to Alex Pereira. That guy is a fucking animal. And yes, he knocked Izzy out and basically knocked him in to the UFC. John Wick says that fight is going to be fire. Loma versus Lopez for sure. Gibson LaPaul says Mousasi versus Lima for the Bellator middleweight belt on October 29th. That's going to be a great one. I take Lima over Mousasi. And Lima's my favorite fighters, but I hate this matchup against Mousasi. Shout out to Mousasi. High fighter, which means Armenian fighter. They got a whole thing going on out here in California called the High Fighters. A lot of Armenians here, big Armenian community. They're very proud of Gegard Mousasi. And, great fighter. And I think Lima's a beast, bro. I think Lima's a beast. I think that's a great fight. I'm excited to see who wins that. Knuckleheads, I have been on for an entire hour. So I'm going to have to, bid you all a farewell and a good evening. But, obviously keep tuning into the channel. I'm going to be putting out content every day. Every day I'm going to be putting out content, whether it's commentary on the fights, whether it's one of our free fights, whether it's an interview with a fighter or somebody in the fight game. I'm going to keep putting it out. So definitely tune in. Check it out. And let me know what you guys think, always in the comment section. Also, add me on Instagram, man. Like I said, add me on Instagram. FightersRep, subscribe to the channel. But add me on Instagram. I'm here, man. If you guys want to chat about anything, hit me up on Instagram. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night. I appreciate you guys being in here. Don't drink and drive. Get it right Saturday nights. This is going to happen every Saturday night after the fights, whether it's MMA or boxing. So tune in. See you guys later. Have a good one.